All right. Hey everyone. Haven't been live on here for a while and I decided to sit in my backyard, and yes, I am trying to correct my hair. Um but anyways, I wanted to get on here and talk about overcoming trials, right? So, um if you haven't really followed me, which shame on you. I'm just kidding. Anyways, if you haven't really followed me, then I had a NICU experience with my son, and you can go to my previous videos and kind of walk through that story because I don't want to go through the whole entire story. But I did write a blog post about that, and it is all about overcoming trauma or trials because I do believe that these are trials that we are given. Um, so I believe your traumas are trials, if I can get any more clear than that. So I wanted to pop on here and talk about how you can overcome trials. If you don't know me, my name is Haley Morris. I'm an INFJ, if that is any interest to you. And so I definitely have a different perspective of life. Uh, I like boho things. I like fantasy things, but I'm also very realistic, and I can make things happen around me. So when it comes to why I'm talking about this overall, I started my journey in dark places, became a life coach in my transition to healing. And then I've been through lots of different certifications, USAW weightlifting. I've taken kickboxing. Um, I have done primal health coaching. I'm certified in that, fasting through, can't think of his name right now. He is a big rower. I'll have to put that somewhere else. But just a lot of certifications around health and fitness and wellness. And I like to help people, specifically women that are going through hard times. I like to help them rebuild their bodies, rebuild their mindsets, get back to nature, get holistic, grow their own food, lots of things like that. That's what I'm into. So, hi, my name's Haley, if you don't know me. And that's just a brief. So back to my journey into the NICU. Finally have kind of gotten past the whole traumatic experience and inner turmoil of that. And am looking at the bright side. Like I'm on the other side, I feel like. So my son just turned 1 in March, and that was a big uplifting day for me. I went through like the past with everything had happened, and that was just a really healing finalization moment for me. So if you want to check out my blog, it's bodicafitness.com, and you can follow along with this article if you would like to. But down in the article, I go through the breakdown of overcoming the trials, the traumas, and the mind. I'm an Orthodox Christian, so this has really opened my mind more so on what the spirit is. Now, I have went through the new age, and I really need to do a remake of my journey through spirituality. But not getting into that at the moment. Um, the nous, or our mind, is connected to the spiritual realm, to God. And so when I talk about the mind, I'm also talking about the spirit because they are connected. You get thoughts from the spiritual world, and you can either take those thoughts and act on them or dismiss them. Okay. And so this is where all of our actions come from. It comes from our mind, our thoughts, right? We don't really do anything without like kind of thinking about it. You can feel, I guess, but you're still having thoughts. Okay. So feeling and thoughts definitely connected with the spirit. So I have here the mind and the spirit. And these are ways that I overcame and my trial, and I've learned about these things over time. So this wasn't like a new process for me. I didn't really need to like seek help per se. I mean, I definitely talked to people, and I'll get into that. But I didn't have to really go to therapy or any of these things because I kind of knew the process that I've already been teaching my clients and teaching myself over time. So the first thing I recommend after overcoming or after going through something dark, and you have that trauma, is the first thing I recommend is finding someone that you trust to talk to. And this might take a minute. You might not want to talk to anybody about anything. Um, and like I said, I'm an INFJ, so I deal with a lot of things internally. And so I did not say anything for a minute. Okay. But eventually you have to get these things out because you have this negative energy, this negative spirit within you that is poisonous. It's poisonous to creating something different, to getting back into the light. Like you could totally drown in trauma and make lots of bad decisions within the trauma. Okay, so I recommend not making any big decisions within a trauma until you're healed out of the trauma and then decide whether you may want to make those um, previous thoughts. Now, I do have children and they're playing, so I might have to briefly pause and assess the noises, right? But I think we're okay. Okay. So find someone that you trust. Um, Another thing is I find it really hard to be vulnerable usually. I feel like I'm getting better at that, but I find it hard to be vulnerable and I find it hard to trust people. So this was another like kind of obstacle for me. But the people that I do trust is my dad, my father, and my husband. And so within those two, those were two people that I knew I could talk to some level. I felt like I could talk to my father a little bit deeper on one aspect and to my husband a little bit deeper on another aspect. Okay. So finding someone that you trust to get out those like bigger, bolder, darker things. That's going to be very important to start to release this energy that's in your body, this experience. Okay. So, my particular things, um, I felt like I was in a delusion in the NICU. I didn't feel like it. I mean, it felt real, but it didn't feel real at the same time. My two girls, which I'm with all the time, were not there. I had to let them live with my parents for the time being. They didn't let any visitors there, and I didn't want to leave my newborn baby because I didn't know if he would make it. So it was very, very delusional for me. I felt like I was not in this reality at all. So that was something that I had to struggle with. A lot of thoughts kept coming back where I basically had to reground myself to tell me, no, you are here. You didn't die because I did hemorrhage too. So I had to go through that as well. That I almost died and my son almost died. And so I have to reground myself into reality. And so that took a while. And so I talked to my dad about that. And I talked to my husband about how I felt like it was my fault that I was being punished somehow by God. Okay. So there was a lot of stuff there that I had to work out. And I'm sure that if you're going through a trauma, you're also trying to work those things out, which, by the way, I help women do. So if you need help and you need somebody that you can trust, I know that I'm not someone in your daily to day life. But I am someone that you could open up to. Okay. If you're having trouble finding someone or you just don't want to share those thoughts with someone close to you, because I can understand that too. The next thing is once you've gotten out a lot of that really dark stuff that you're struggling with, you should feel some like release and a little bit um, more of a ability to just talk about the story and not get super emotional with it, maybe a little bit, but not super emotional. It just feels more normal to talk about. And so just start chit chatting with people that you feel like will listen to you and maybe give a little bit of feedback. But, you're just kind of finding, well, really what you're doing is you're going through the story so that way your mind and your body can process it and get out all the rest of it. Okay, you're just trying to work through and process through it so you can heal. I actually just read a book and I can't remember what it's called at this moment, but it also talks about little kid trauma, like if they get into a car accident or other things, especially when they can't really talk right away. Um, it helps if they can tell their story as briefly as they can, or in depth as they need to if they can talk more, and you try to just listen and say like, yes, that did happen, or how like kind of walk them through it so that they can process it and they can get through it, and it becomes kind of normal, and then they can move on. So it does help to talk about your story, and I know that it's really hard in the beginning, but the sooner you can get the darker stuff out that you're struggling with, and then just chit chatting with people that will listen or understand or give you a little bit of feedback, that is really going to help you clear that dark stuff, and that way you can move forward and get over that trauma. The next thing is refuting intrusive thoughts. When you're going through these trials and tribulations, you are going to be attacked. Like, you are going to have intrusive thoughts everywhere. This is something that I had gotten over a long time ago, because I've always kind of struggled with intrusive thoughts. And I finally had gotten to a place where I pretty much wiped it out. Like, I didn't really have intrusive thoughts. It was very rare. And if I did, I knew how to wipe it out very quickly. And with this trial and with this trauma, it came back at full force, and probably I don't know if I would say it's probably darker than ever. Like, there's just so many thoughts and things that I thought I needed decided on, or to decide or change, or like just so much stuff, so much garbage. Um, so you have to know, like, when you have experienced trauma or trial, this is not a time to make decisions at all. Like, do not make any big decisions. Because you're going to be thrown everything. And so at this point, you just need to refute these thoughts and direct your attention elsewhere. You can say a prayer like, Dear Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Something. If pray, have affirmations, just something to switch your thoughts and your focus somewhere else. Do a mundane task, turn on music, go on a walk, hike, something. But don't make any decisions, don't make any rash decisions. And if you have a reoccurring intrusive thoughts, don't dwell on it. You can kind of figure out like what's going on there, but you need to address it and get rid of it, but don't make any decisions, because there were tons and tons of intrusive thoughts that if I would have acted on them, my life would be in total, like, it would have been more trauma and it would be way worse. And now that I've gotten past that trauma and I've healed a lot more, and I'm out of that, I can see, oh, like, that wasn't like what I wanted. That's not actually what I want. But I was like so in the dark that like I could have easily took that path. So really take my advice. Don't make any big decisions. Get through the trauma, like heal, and then if you still want to make something different happen, then cool. But don't do it when you're not clear. You will be attacked. So an example for that is like one of the things I struggled with is like, I'm gonna die. Like, because I almost died and my son almost died. And so I just have this like reoccurring fear that I'm going to die. And occasionally it'll still pop up. It's just not as bad. But I would get overwhelming anxiety about it and not want to do certain things because I was afraid I was going to die. So with that thought, something that you can do is obviously say a prayer. I mean, that I feel like doing the sign of the cross and saying a prayer has been like a game changer for sure on lots of different things. And I'll talk about that in another video. But also like reframing, right? So no, Haley, you're just scared of dying because of all that trauma, right? Um, and you can go through it if you want, like what happened, and then be like, no, okay, so all is well now. Take a deep breath. We're in the present moment. Find something to do. Reground yourself. Okay, so you just want to direct your thoughts. So anytime I have an intrusive thought, I can look at it. Okay, I don't like that one. Shove it to the side. Bring in a new one. Like create your own thought. Like sometimes I sing this, like songs pop into my head all the time. I love music. I can sing really well. I just never do it except for my kids. Um, Sometimes I'll have like the Highway to Hell song stuck in my head. Like it'll just randomly pop in my head. And that was something I listened to when I was little, in my uh dad's vehicle. And so now when that song gets stuck in my head, I either completely change the song or I change the lyrics to Highway to Heaven. So sometimes you just have to do that. Like you have to switch your thoughts to something that you want. Don't let your thoughts control you. Not all of your thoughts are yours. Like it's connected with your nous. It's from the spiritual world. So take what you want and get rid of what you don't. Okay. Um, Another huge healer is rewriting your story. So once you kind of get through these things, you can reframe your story. And this is huge, huge when it comes to mental health. So anything you are experiencing, anything you want to experience, you can write this down, you can reframe it, you can create your story. At this point, when we get into rewriting the story, in my blog, I kind of go through this time that I volunteered for a mental health luncheon, and this man had came up to me, and he kind of stood out. But one of the reasons that he stood out was because he came up to me. He had this big scar across his face and his head, and he wanted to share a story on like what happened to him. And so I listened, and it was kind of loud, and his speech was a little off, so it was really hard for me to hear it all. But essentially what he said is that has at some point someone had thrown something at him and it hit his head like really bad, obviously. And the other biggest things that stood out, with him is that he told the story several times, like in a row, several times to me, just to me. And I thought, man, that is like so sad. And obviously, I don't know his situation. I don't know his like overall, like his mental health, his brain health, like what happened. I have no idea. But what I took from that is especially over time learning about mental health and stuff, what I took from that is if someone would have just took a little bit of time, maybe, maybe he would think differently. Maybe he would be able to adapt a little better to the world if he didn't keep focusing on that past event. Now, like I said, I don't know his overall condition, but I do know if someone continually focuses on the exact same story that they have trauma from and they never figure out how to heal from that, they're going to have issues because you have to move on. You have to grow or you die. Do you see? So you can't get stuck in the trauma. It's very important not to get stuck in the trauma. And so if you can rewrite your story, if you can find the blessings within the story, like mine was, I had a fast labor. It was at home. My son was overall healthy. Um, you know, when I got to the NICU, um, I learned that the medical industry, all of it's not that bad. I learned that there's lots of babies in the NICU that need help. They need more support. Um, you know, there's lots of blessings. He's fine. He's thriving. Uh, you know, it made me have a change of heart. I look at my kids differently and with more gratitude. I live life a little bit different because of it. There's lots of good things that came out of it. But when you're in the trauma, you can't see those good things. So when you get to a point where you feel like you're healing, it's time to rewrite your story. Rewrite it where you can pick out the things, um, the blessings, and then the things that have changed within you and are making you a better person. Now, I do want to say that my child is thriving. Okay, he somehow miraculously, like I honestly believe it's a miracle that he is thriving. And he's upset now. Um, but he is thriving. So if you have experienced this situation and your child is not here or not thriving, first of all, I am so sorry because I tasted that. I tasted him almost not being here. And so I can tell you right now, I I can, but I cannot imagine what you are going through. So please do not take what I'm saying like it's an insult or anything. So I totally understand that this might be a totally different situation for you. So I apologize if this isn't if this is lacking. Okay. But over time, I do know people that have lost their son or their husband and or someone very close to them, and they have gotten better. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So just keep intentionally working on yourself, and I promise that it you will get better. Okay. But you have to intentionally work on it, because you can get stuck in the trauma, and you can make bad decisions that make your life worse. So please don't do that. Don't take that route. Okay. So once you rewrite your story, you can and so this came at my son's first birthday party. I got pretty emotional. I mean, I went through the pictures and I hung things up, and things that the nurses at the NICU gave me. It was really emotional. That was me revisiting the past one last time, revisiting the whole experience, right? And really remembering and like looking at the outcome, right? And letting it go, letting it be the last time I look at it as like a really traumatic experience, and morphing it into finding the new light, into finding the new path to be on, and to thriving in that direction. So that was kind of my last very deep emotional moment for that. If I think about it now, like, yeah, it like I get a little sad or emotional about it, but it's nothing like it was. Like, I just am like, wow, I can't believe that like we survived that type thing. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind, that there is a light at the end of the dark tunnel. Just you have to intentionally work on it. So some other things not to hey, sit down. Some other things not to look over, right? Is there's some other things that I did. So the body, get grounded. Don't sit around. Sitting around is the devil's plays toys. Like, do some mundane tasks, work, clean, find some small goals and accomplish them. Deep breaths, count to 10. If you're like out of reality, count to 10, find something real to feel, get your feet on the ground, something to put you in the present moment. If you're having an anxiety attack, or you're kind of going through a dark space, or some intrusive thoughts have gotten caught and you can't really get rid of them, ground yourself somewhere, find a present moment. Another thing is I started eating really, really clean, like super nutritionally. I mean, I would have some treats here and there, but I really tried to focus on keeping a clean diet, because for one, I took antibiotics, so that wipes out all your good microbiome, including your bad ones, but it just takes it all out. So that gut brain connection is gone. Like, it's gone. So whatever had built up, it's automatically out of there, which also makes your mind kind of go haywire. So getting that back in order. So you have to eat clean. You have to stay away from certain things. You got to kind of know your body. What do you do well with? Do you do really bad with sugar? Do you do really bad with grains? By the way, if you do need help figuring those things out, I have some links to some labs that you can take to figure out what are some things that your body can't handle. Okay. Another thing is moving often. So you need to exercise. If you can get at least 20 minutes of zone cardio in a day to decrease your stress and elevate your mood and increase your overall wellness, I mean, that's what it will do. Then that's very important. Like, you at least need some 20 minutes of some zone, like get your heart rate up. Um, and you'll feel a lot better. If you want to get stronger and feel more courageous, then start lifting. Learn self-defense. I like to lift. I also like to do self-defense. I just haven't really found a gym to do that at the moment. But those will increase your muscles. You'll get curves, which is all great, but also it'll increase your self-faith and your courage, and it'll just help rebuild your mindset. Do fun things, like get out and smile and laugh. Do more of those things. That will definitely help you. And find some achievable goals, like small goals. You can do small goals, making your bed daily, accomplishing a short hike, or you can go volunteer for a charity or go on an adventure with your children. Just make a list and mark it off. And then the last thing is serving others. Okay, this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm back, because Nothing makes you feel better than taking the focus off of yourself and serving others. Whether that's your children, your husband, or friends, or a charity, or doing stuff like this, making an impact really does make you feel better. So yeah, that's kind of what I have for you guys. My kids are starting to fall apart. So I'm going to get off here. If you want to read the full article, it's at boudicafitness.com, BOUDICA fitness.com, under my blog, and it's called Overcoming Trauma. And I look forward to meeting some of you, working with some of you. And so if you do need help getting over trauma, diet, fitness, mental health, lifestyle changes, or even impactful goals, like building your own business or anything like that, I am more than happy to assist you. Have a great day.